So today, like you see here, I have a lovely guest. She is Jenny, and she works in Japan. So we are going to talk about working in Japan. Let's hear from Jenny first. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. So as Asagi said, my name is Jenny. And
Jenny should. I love that.
And originally I'm from a small town close to the Dutch border in Germany, but I moved to Munich for studying there. So I studied theater studies at the university in Munich and was focusing on movie and anime and Japanese culture. And in my minor, I did language, culture, and literature. And in this minor, I had to learn a new language. And I was always interested in a bit, I'm not saying weird languages, but rather rare languages. I also learned Kiswahili because I went to Tanzania when I was a high school student. So I decided for Japanese. And learning the language, I got interested in Japan and Japanese theater. So in 2014, I did an exchange year at the university, Hokkaido University.
Yeah, it's a North Japan. Hokkaido.
North of Japan. Yes, very cold in winter and a lot of snow. And in 2015, I went back. I had a huge reverse culture shock. I was missing my friends in Japan. I was missing Japan. So I finished my master's degree in theater studies, but decided that if I want to really be able to speak Japanese fluently, I would need to go back. So I decided to work in Japan after graduation. So I joined the same company Asagi was working for before in 2017 October, and they had a special program for foreign graduates. So it was rather easy actually to join the company. And I was working the public relations department for 2 years. So I was trying to improve on my Japanese. It was an electronic component manufacturer, so it was quite different from what I studied and what I personally enjoy because I love art and theater and movies, right? So I switched jobs when my contract ended last year in October, and I applied for over 90 companies here in Japan, and I went through the normal process like all the other Japanese applicants. And now I work for a company called Culture Convenience Club, or short just CCC, and they operate a very popular bookstore chain, which is called Staya Books. I'm sure, Asagi, you probably know the chain in Japan.
It's a famous bookstore in Japan, so
yeah, not very well known overseas yet, but we recently started also going to China and trying to expand. And I'm doing the promotion there and customer relationship management, and I really enjoy it because the store got renewed in March, and now we have a bar where you can get drinks and an art gallery, which is really lovely. So because I did study theater studies and love art, so it's great that we have an art gallery as well, which I support, and art objects. And that's my work currently. So I speak German and English and Japanese basically fluently. I learned Spanish and Kiswahili, so I think I'm considered intelligent by most of the people. Nevertheless, I drop my phone 3 times a day and constantly bump into my furniture. I think that's everything you need to know about me.
Okay. Well, thank you. How long have you been learning Japanese? That's from born name, last name.
I started, as I said earlier, when I joined the university, so in 2011. And back then it was just my minor, so I had lessons 2 times a week, so it was not a lot. That continued for 2 years, and then I went to the Hokkaido University, where I joined a program specifically for learning Japanese. So every day I had Japanese classes, and that's where I think my Japanese level really got way better. But then again, I went back to Germany for finishing my master's degree, and I didn't have any Japanese classes, so I tried to keep my level learning by myself. But yeah, more or less worked. But again, it got way better when I came back to Japan for working here, because I was forced to speak Japanese all day in the company. Besides talking with Asagi, she was the only one who spoke in English with me sometimes. So yeah, I guess that was the best school then again. So in total, just classes, 3 years, learning for myself, basically 2 years, and then, well, when I joined the company or came here to Japan again, 2 years, so around 7 years in total.
7 years.
Yeah. I mean, Asagi, you know my speaking level. I think that's quite good, but really, kanji is still very difficult.
Reading and writing.
Mm.
You worked for 2 companies so far, and then how did you get those jobs?
So, so first of all, I already did a lot of internships back at university in Germany, because I did internships in the movie industry, and I worked for the Opera House in Munich. But so the first job for the electric component manufacturer, like I said, was quite easy to enter from Germany, because first of all, I worked very hard and tried hard to get an internship actually before entering that company. And that was during my spring break in 2017 in spring, I guess, yes. And for 3 months. And it actually took me over a year to arrange that internship, because that company introduced themselves at my university. And my Japanese teacher invited me because I went to Hokkaido University before. So I was asked to participate in that event. And that's how I got to know the company. And I knew I wanted to try working in a Japanese company. So I approached that person from the company and asked if I could do an internship. And then we had a lot of mail contact, and he had to contact the headquarters in Japan, because usually they would rather have internships in the affiliate in Germany. But yeah, after 1.5 years, it finally got decided that I can do that internship. So I went there for 3 months, and I think, as far as I perceived it, the superiors liked my performance and already said back then if I would want to, I could, or I should apply for this 2 years program for foreigners, and they would love to have me there in the public relations department. And I also enjoyed it, and the co-workers like Asagi were really nice. I had a good feeling about that. And yeah, then I applied only for that company. I didn't apply for any other company. And I had to go through the normal process of a job interview, but it was a very relaxed atmosphere because I already knew all those persons.
Right.
And yeah.
Some of the Japanese companies, like ours, former workplace, they want foreign workers who speak multiple languages, such as, English. And we had a special program for that, and she applied for that and got it. That's the first job.
Yes. Yeah, switching jobs was a whole new level. Like, I mean, I never even had to I never even worked in a German company, right, where I really had to go through an application process like other people would have to. Even for those internships, it was rather always that some of my professors recommended me, so it was very easy. I had the help of an agency. You know Judah? Probably you know it, right?
Judah,
Asagi?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's written DODA, and already 6 months before I knew that my contract would end, I got me a profile on the Judah agency, and then got into contact with the career advisor. And she was amazing. She was really great, and she helped me sending out all those applications because yeah, it's pretty tough, right, to do an application in Japanese, and I do not know the format, nothing. So that career advisor helped me applying for all those companies.
Yeah. Even though you speak really fluent Japanese, it might be hard for you to write like public documents.
I also went to a job fair, but it turned out that it was all about engineers or like IoT and nothing related to what I really wanted to do, with art or entertainment. So yeah, I asked my career advisor for help, and she was searching them for companies which would fit what I would like to do. And I had to prepare like a CV, but it's like definitely different than the German one, and I also think different from the American style. So my career advisor helped me a lot improving it and making it appropriate to send into a Japanese company. And we basically were able to use always the same CV for all the companies, so I didn't had to do any extra work for that. But a lot of companies require that you write an essay, like why do you want this job and why are you the best to get this job, So that was quite tough because, yeah, doing that for a lot of companies while I was still normal working, right? I was still continuing my old job, so
Yeah, you were
that
busy at that
that
time.
was first I got a lot of rejections. I mean, most of the times the reason was like there's not enough knowledge or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty disappointing because I heard that usually Japanese people, if they apply here in Japan for companies, it takes them around 12 applications until they get their preferred job. And I mean, for me, it was like 90 applications. So that was quite difficult. And then, especially when the phase of interviews started, that was pretty tough. I had to leave work early a few times. Then in September, so just 1 month until my contract ended, I still didn't had a job offer. I went back to Germany to visit my friend, and when I returned the same day after 12 hours flight, I had to undergo an interview in Japanese, and the next day after that, and the day after that. So that was like really exhausting until I finally, yeah, got to know the company I'm working for now. First interview with 3 people. They were all very passionate and like they very young. Like in my other interviews, there were a lot of oji-chan,
Yeah,
so
old guys.
old men. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was also like not very nice atmosphere. But with CCC, like with Steyr Books I'm working for now, like it was a very nice atmosphere. And then I finished the first interview and got they contacted me that I need to undergo a test. So I went to the second stage basically, and I had to do this. Like, do you know it, Asagi? SPI?
SBI.
Yeah, it's like a test, like mathematical things, logical things, but it was in Japanese, so I bet I got like minus 100 points. I don't know, but nevertheless, luckily got invited to another interview, and yeah, apparently I made a good impression because after that I got the job offer just 2 weeks before the contract with my
That's
old
right. Oh
company
my goodness, 2 weeks.
ended. So it was very giddy
Yeah.
and a lot of
You just
pressure
made it.
because, I was also living in the company's dorm. So I knew I would need to move after the end of my contract. So then also finding an apartment and everything was pretty tough.
I think this is the one of the Japanese companies' issue, but many of them are curious. How long do you work at your work?
So in my case, in the company I worked at before, it literally was zero overwork. So I worked from 8:20 in the morning to 5 in the evening or in the afternoon. And I didn't had a lot of tasks, so there was no need to work longer, although I know that some others definitely did a lot of overwork. But for me personally, it was not a problem. And in the company right now, I got way more tasks because basically I'm doing a lot of the tasks related to like foreign customers, so talking in English. And also, of course, even if your shift, so we have a shift system, so they're not like not from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening, but it changes. And most of the times I'm there from 11 until 8 in the evening, or even from 1 until 10 in the evening. And sometimes, if you talk to customers directly in the store, you cannot just go out just because your shift ended, but you will need
excuse me, I have to go.
Yes, exactly.
You can't do that.
So that's how sometimes, of course, you will need to do overwork, but until now it's been pretty like normal, nothing too bad. Like, I mean, because we did the renovation in March, like we opened on March 7th. February and the beginning of March was very busy, but I can understand that because, if you reopen and basically have a whole
certain period of time and
whole new store with whatnot, with the Starbucks and the bar and the gallery and everything inside, I can understand that there's more work than usual. So that was okay for me. Right now, I'm not doing overwork at all. I'm actually at home office, and work is I would probably also do in Germany. So that's not an issue. But again, I do know that in other departments, it's a bit different. So I think it also really depends on in which department you work in and which tasks you have. I think like accounting or departments like that seem a bit busy. But in general, I feel that both companies, the company I worked at before and also Steyr Books I'm working for now, are very eager to like limit the overwork.
I see. Yeah, I think it depends on how the company or how your department have that culture.
Yeah, and I mean, probably you can explain that better, Asagi, but in Japan, there are companies called black companies, which are known for like, which are known for making the employees do a lot of overwork. And the point is, I have actually a lot of Japanese friends who also do a lot of overwork, but they do not even get paid for it. So that's what I think is very weird. I never heard about that in Germany. Like, I also do not mind doing overwork because I get paid for it normally. But I heard of a lot of companies like these black companies that they expect their employees to do overwork for free, which is so strange to me.
It's getting better though. Most of the big companies in Japan are improving, and not so many people are working overtime, and at least they get paid. But I think that kind of things happen in smaller company or new companies. So yeah, I think you might want to be careful which company you will be in.
And definitely also, like when I signed up for this agency for Duda, For every job description, they had a line saying the average hours of overwork.
Heidi-san, would you say it's easy to get a job right after uni?
Definitely, I think what one needs to keep in mind is, for example, in Germany, it would be very difficult for me, as I have a master in theater studies, to do a job related to promotion or related to marketing. But in Japan, it's not, because Japanese companies believe that as long as the student has the potential and the ability, the company will be able to teach everything they need to know. So I think in Japan, it is way easier to get a job which is not directly related to your studies. So I think they're way more flexible in that regard. But then on the other hand, I think it is very difficult to get a job from outside of Japan. Like if you are in Germany and you want to get a job in a company in Japan, I'm not sure, that might be pretty difficult. If it's not a very international company which already offers this kind of programs. But I would just recommend you to write that companies directly, because I believe, or at least I feel, especially recently, there are a lot of also Japanese companies who are aiming for more diversity and who are trying. They may not have the structures yet, but they probably appreciate if they get a message from you. So maybe you can just take initiative and ask the companies you would like to enter directly. That might be easiest.